Hi, everyone. Welcome back to a very factual podcast. We are your hosts, Kayla.
And Izabella, and the first 8 teams of the Champions League round of 16 played, and we had some very interesting matchup this week.
So on Wednesday, Bayern Munich played Lazio and unluckily lost 1-0. The first half was dominated by Bayern, but they couldn't score. Second half turned up, and it looked as though Bayern would take the lead any minute, but in the 67th minute, Upamecano
You
got
got
a
it.
red card for Bayern, resulting in one less player and a penalty rewarded to Lazio. Immobile took the penalty and scored the only goal of the match. Bayern tried to score and at least tie it back up, but were unsuccessful with only 10 players. And this was a very unexpected outcome, in my opinion. I thought Bayern Munich had this, and sure, it would be a tad bit difficult because, it is it's always a little difficult. But I had higher expectations, and honestly, looking at the stats, you can kind of see why they lost. Bayern, they dominated possession with 61%, and shots for Bayern Munich was 17 opposed to 11 for Lazio. But where you can see is where they lost is at the shots on target. Bayern had 0 shots on
Mm-hmm.
target. 0. Like,
Mm-hmm.
how do you take 17 shots and not a single one ends up on net? Like, of course you lost.
Yeah, Bayern were absolute crap in this game. Like, Lazio are in 8th place in Serie A.
Mhm.
And this is a game Bayern Munich had to win because they've been under so much pressure recently, especially in the Bundesliga. They have not been performing up to like Bayern Munich standards. Like they're out of the DFB Pokal. They lost against some 4th division side. They let an injured Bayer Leverkusen team beat them last game 3-0. They have not had convincing performances, and Thomas Tuchel, even though, he was Chelsea manager, and probably one of my favorite Chelsea managers ever. He's just under more and more pressure, and this game just added a whole lot more.
Mhm. I mean, this game, looking at it, I'm looking at like who's playing. I would immediately expect Bayern Munich to, win because it's Bayern Munich. But then you think of, their recent games and everything, and it's just you knew it was gonna be a little bit more of an even match, but I just didn't expect them to get a red card and have 0 shots on target. Like I still can't get over the fact that like you're at Bayern Munich and you cannot get a single shot on net.
I know that also really shocked me. I was like, "What?" Like they could not get anything to Harry Kane. They literally could not produce anything in the first half, especially. Like their forwards should have done better. They have a good team. Like it's
Mhm.
filled with quality. Like all their forwards, they're top players, and then Upamecano, he got the red card. It gave Lazio a penalty, and that's when the game just went even more downhill. I thought for Bayern, if they would have got a win, which they should have, it could have been a
Mhm.
confidence booster. And I thought it was, especially for this game, I thought they were going to bring some energy back in and some drive to win, especially after last weekend. Like they statistically controlled the game. You said they had what, 70 something percent possession or something?
61%.
Oh, yeah. But the game was boring. Like they did not
It
finish
was.
their shots. They probably had the easiest draw in the round of 16, and hopefully they can turn it around in the second leg cuz there's literally no excuses.
There really isn't. I mean, sure, they've, like you said, they've been slacking a little bit and they've been a little off-putting, but if they win the next game, it should be a huge confidence booster because it is Bayern Munich and even being on that team and being like, we just lost this game, like sure they can blame it on only having 10 players, but they really can't because of their recent losses.
Yeah, because they had 11 players the majority of the game,
Mhm.
too. So basically, you can't really use that as an excuse. And I think if they get knocked out, I think Thomas Tuchel literally has to go. He has
Yeah.
lost the dressing room. He lost the players. All the players are doing their own thing. No one is feeding Harry Kane. I mean, he has amazing statistics in the Bundesliga, but recently no one's feeding him. He's literally playing as a defensive midfielder rather than a striker, which is so funny. Like, and one player that has been like on under a lot of scrutiny is Leroy Sané. He has such a bad attitude. Like he doesn't care about the team unless he performs well. And Tuchel doesn't even know his best 11. Like he took Kimmich and Goretzka and the Leeds out of the team, and he brought Eric Dyer in for some reason. It's just there's such I don't even know what Thomas Tuchel's trying to do anymore.
I mean, I loved him at Chelsea. I feel like he was a
Mhm.
perfect fit at Chelsea. Why he was forced to leave, it's why. But once he came to Bayern Munich, it's kinda like he kind of fell off his pedestal. He tried to probably do what he did with Chelsea, and it didn't work out well. And Harry Kane, he kind of lost his hype, I wanna say, because I expected him to be so much better, but also, like you said, no one's really feeding him the ball, so
He was getting a lot of goals in the beginning of the
Mhm.
season. Like, he is very close to, like, equalizing, Lewandowski's record from a couple seasons ago. But the thing is everyone's talking about is the Harry Kane curse. Like, he
Yeah.
couldn't win a trophy at Spurs. Now he comes to Bayern Munich, who have won the Bundesliga 11 times, like, in a row. And now the one year he comes, Bayer Leverkusen are in first place, and it looks like Bayern aren't gonna win anything at all.
Which is just very sad to see. I mean, Bayern Munich is a phenomenal team, and just
Mhm.
seeing that they lost this game, 1-0 is just and they weren't even playing that good. It's not like it was a close game. It's just sad to see. RB Leipzig took on Real Madrid for round 16 and lost 0-1. First half begun and both teams equally were fighting and taking shots. This game looked almost even, making you think there would be no winner until early in the second half when Leipzig slipped up and let Brahim Diaz score the only goal of the match. Leipzig kept pressing for a goal, but they couldn't, and the expected winners of Real Madrid took home the win and maybe move forward. And something that I just wanna mention is that I thought was actually kind of funny, was that everything was basically even. Like, possession was
Mhm.
literally 50-50, and shots was 14 Leipzig and 15 Madrid, and that just proves how close this game really was.
Yeah, it was. And something I want to say first is the Brahim Diaz goal. It was incredible. Like, it
Mhm,
flew so slowly to the top of the net. The buildup was also amazing. Like, he did everything himself. And Brahim Diaz, like, as a player, he's been really stepping up this season. Like, you know, Jude is injured right now, and he's kind of in replacing Jude, and I think he's doing a great job. Like, he gets goals,
mhm.
he contributes all over the field, and um it wasn't like I don't Madrid didn't play bad, but it wasn't their best performance. Like, they found a way out of it, and
Yeah.
they got it done, especially with their injuries that they're having currently.
I mean, Madrid, they've been pretty good this season. They haven't been the best, but
Mhm.
they haven't been awful either. Like, I expected them to win this game. Sure, I knew it would be a little bit difficult, but you expected them to win this even with their injuries. Like, sure, they don't have Bellingham right now, but, like, they have players that stepped up, like Diaz, for example.
Yeah, and Leipzig, they've also been having their own problems, but
Mhm.
I thought they did quite well in the first half. Like, there was many chances, they just couldn't convert them. They've been struggling, like, scoring goals for a while, kind of like Chelsea.
Yeah.
And you talked about the 50-50 possession. I was surprised Leipzig didn't get anything out of the game because I feel like Madrid didn't have the game under control. Yes, they won, but I don't think they had it under control. And if there was probably not a better time where they could have beat Real Madrid, like, they had a lot of stuff going in their favor.
I feel like when you watch games, it's usually like, one team controls the match and the other team kinda plays the
Mhm.
other club's game, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But this game was so 50-50 that, like you said, there was no really like, Real Madrid didn't control the game,
Mhm.
Leipzig didn't control the game. Normally, you see that happening, it's just like, you didn't, which I thought was,
Mhm.
like, pretty great to see in a game for once.
Something that happened in the beginning of the game, it was like right at like the second minute, something around that time. Leipzig had a disallowed goal. It was like right in the beginning of the game. And
Mhm.
first, like, I didn't see anything wrong with it, right? I didn't see Sesko offside. I thought I was like, oh, how come they didn't give this? And I've heard a few opinions, but in the end, I found out that it was disallowed because Sesko interfered with the goalkeeper from an offside position, which is not, I didn't see it at first. Like, if I did not hear that, I don't think I would have said it was a goal. And I genuinely thought it should have been given. It's just really unlucky for Leipzig.
Honestly, if you I did not know that, and if you didn't just tell me that, I would have been like, Leipzig should have tied it because
Yeah.
it's just like, I didn't see that, and I feel like during matches, they should probably, like, say on the screen
Yeah.
why it was disallowed so fans just, like, don't, completely get mad or whatever because I did not know that, and it's just kinda like Leipzig, clearly they, lived up to that 50-50 possession.
Yeah. I thought maybe if that goal was allowed, I thought maybe it could give them like a boost. Maybe they could have,
Mhm.
you know, won the game maybe. Manchester City traveled to Copenhagen on Tuesday and got a 1-3 win against the hosts. City would take only 10 minutes to score with Kevin De Bruyne on the end of it, but then out of nowhere Copenhagen equalized after an Ederson mistake. But right before halftime, Bernardo Silva put City back in the lead, and the second half stayed a bit more quiet until Foden's stoppage time goal sealed the win for City. City really started off strong. Like they could have got a goal in like the first 2 minutes. Like they just pressed the Copenhagen net, and all that pressing paid off. Like we saw Kevin De Bruyne, he got a goal. He's continuing his amazing form ever since he came back from his injury. Like this is his first UCL game this season, and he's already made such a big impact.
I feel like Kevin De Bruyne doesn't get all the recognition he deserves in City because sure, he's one of their top players, people do talk about him, but I feel like people mostly talk about, like Haaland and like Bernardo Silva, stuff like that. But Kevin De Bruyne, he is probably one of the most crucial players in City. I mean, he scored the opening goal in the 10th minute in his first UCL game. Like that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I mean, he's been out for like half the season, and you can just
Mhm.
really see like the difference he made since he came back. Like Foden, he's also been on great form recently. Like on paper, we all knew City was supposed to win. Like Copenhagen, they're not. I don't want to say they're a bad team because they've upsetted some big teams. Like we saw them win against United in the group stages, against Galatasaray. But City did what City did. They dominated possession 75, 25 attempts. Like, I don't think Copenhagen were that bad against the best team in the world.
I mean, yeah, best team in the world could be controversial, but I mean, I agree with you because clearly they know what they're doing on the field. Yes, they
Mm-hmm.
have their ups and downs like every single team, but they know what they're doing and you just knew that they were going to win this. And if they didn't, I feel like that would just shock everyone. And like you said, Phil Foden recently, he has actually been perfecting. I don't say perfecting, but fixing his form a little bit because we saw he was a little off a few
Mm-hmm.
months ago, but City, they got a stacked team, There's nothing you can really complain about.
Yeah, Copenhagen, they also like capitalized on the Ederson mistake. Like Ederson, he
Mhm.
passed the ball out really bad. I don't know why he did not play it long. That was literally all his fault. And Copenhagen really kept City quiet for a lot of the second half. Like they challenged Haaland a few times. They kept him quiet in this game. And something that will potentially bother City, though, is the injuries they got in this game. Like, so before they traveled to Copenhagen for this game, Gvardiol, he was injured. He didn't travel with the squad at all. Grealish and Bernardo Silva both got injured in the game, and hopefully those won't be major problems because they are such big players for that team.
I mean, Copenhagen played a very physically aggressive game this game. Like they knew they were playing against one of the best
Mm-hmm.
teams in the world. So they gave it, I want to say their all. But clearly they didn't, win, obviously
Yeah.
3-1. But playing against a team like City, it's a lot of pressure like mentally, physically. So
Yeah.
but I'm looking at the stats right now and for fouls, Copenhagen had 13 fouls called on them, which like I mean like I know fouls, constantly called in a game,
Mm-hmm.
constantly, but it's just that says how much Copenhagen actually pushed. Sure, the possession was very much in City's favor, and you knew City was going to win. But
Mm-hmm.
Copenhagen, I got to give to them for at least trying a little bit.
Yeah. And, I think City in the second leg, they'll go on to win it. And I think City have a really good chance at winning the Champions League again because I don't see another team that is probably as strong as them at the moment.
I mean, me either. City has been absolutely phenomenal in all the leagues that they're in right now. So
Mm-hmm.
it's very, very difficult to beat them no matter who they really play.
PSG would start their Champions League round of 16 runoff with a 2-0 win against Real Sociedad. It would take PSG till the second half to score, with Mbappe scoring in the 58th minute, breaking the deadlock when his team needed him the most. And youngster Bradley Barcola sealed the win with a goal in the 70th minute. Okay, I want to talk about Mbappe for a second because I didn't watch this game. I went off highlights, so I just want to talk about Mbappe. I don't get the hype around Mbappe, and this is very controversial. Yes, he's good. He's world class. He's one of the best players in the world, but people are saying he is the best. That is different. That has a different meaning. Yes, he has incredible Champions League statistics, but he can't even carry PSG to a Champions League trophy.
I mean, I have to agree with you on that. I feel like people that say he's the best don't really watch soccer because when you see him play, yes, he's amazing. He's one of the better ones for sure, but he's far from the best. You see other people who just they play better than a better mindset. I feel like Mbappe is more of a cocky player. He knows that people like him. They really like, enjoy watching him. And I would too, but I feel like just because of all the hype around him, I don't really enjoy it that much. And I kind of knew PSG was going to win this game,
Well,
but
obviously, yeah.
I was rooting for Real Sociedad just for the very purpose of, Mbappe kind of being humbled, you know what I mean?
Yeah, when players are like cocky, I just dislike them.
Mhm.
I don't know why. I just get like a bad vibe from them. Like Mbappe, he has never played in a real competitive league. Like he's playing Ligue 1 in France. Okay? Of course PSG is gonna win every single game. Of course PSG are gonna win the title. Like he has 20 goals this season. That is a lot because the league is so bad. Like if he was truly the the best in the world, he would be dominating teams week in and week out. He would probably have double the goals. He literally scored a tap in this game. Like, come on
Yeah.
now.
Like, something I have to say is that he is good. I can't be hating on him too much because he is a
He's
professional
very
player.
good. He's
But
very
I
good.
feel like if he tried to join the Premier League or a league very similar to that, it would just be a very rude awakening to him, and people would expect so much from him, he just wouldn't be able to provide. And that's just the honest truth about Mbappe.
Yeah, I think he likes to do everything himself. Like
Yes, he's
he does not
very
he
mhm.
does not track back. Like there was in the World Cup, he was just walking when his team was back defending. Like, come on, dude. It the world doesn't revolve around you. He's turned. I've heard people say this that Mbappe has turned PSG into himself plus 10 other guys because
Yes,
that's
that's
all he
true.
cares about.
Yep. When you said PSG, I was actually talking about this game to someone who doesn't really watch soccer. And when I said PSG, the first thing that person said was, "Oh, that's where Mbappe plays." Like, yes, that
Yeah,
is where he plays, but it's not his club. It's not, well, I mean, okay, it is his club, but it's not only him. Like, no one
yeah.
knows about like any other of the players because they just only focus on Mbappe, and it's just I just really don't like him. I don't.
I know. And so basically, Mbappe is like, there's a really big chance he's joining Real Madrid in the summer. I think everyone knows
Mhm.
that. But the thing is, Vinicius Jr. already plays on the left side, and that's where Mbappe wants to play. So I just know something's gonna happen. He's gonna come in. He's going to think he is the guy. But Real Madrid, they have a very tight knit squad. They all look out for each other, and I feel like Mbappe is. I don't know why he's going there. I don't know why Real Madrid want him if they have Vinicius Jr., a world class player, on that
Yeah.
side.
Yeah, Mbappe is very, me, and he's gonna go to a team that already has a player, a very, very amazing player in the
Mm-hmm.
position that he plays. So I think he's gonna walk in and be like, "Oh, my position." They're gonna be like, no,"
No,
and
yeah,
it's gonna create a lot of drama within the club.
yeah, and for Real Sociedad, I have not watched a lot of them this season.
No, me either.
I don't really watch that much La Liga unless it's Barcelona or Real Madrid, but they have been struggling to score in the games that I have seen and their results. I thought they played quite well in this game, somewhat, especially in the first half, like not getting Mbappe to score in the first half, I guess, that's a plus. I think Real
Mhm.
Sociedad are more of a team than
Yeah.
PSG. Like we've talked about this on past episodes, how PSG have a lack of unity.
They definitely do. They're very independent when it comes to their games.
Yeah. And that is literally all I have on that game.
Yes, that's all we have for today, right? Yeah,
Yes.
so thank you everyone for listening, and don't forget to follow our Instagram and YouTube at Very Factual Podcast.